produce these natural proteins that can come out of the skin, so it can feel like crawling, it can feel like stinging. You can get these spontaneously appealing ulcers from these things breaking through the skin. So Morgellons disease, it is associated with a persistent Borrelia infection, possibly just a spirochetal infection as well, and there are these other multiple components. About 6% of patients with Lyme disease will go on to develop Morgellons disease. So again, this is a true somatic
But if you
illness.
have
This is
Morgellons, you
not a delusional disorder.
Thank
so
you.
there is true delusions of parasitosis. That really is a true diagnosis. But of patients with Lyme disease will go on to develop Morgellons disease. So again, this is a true somatic illness. This is not a delusional disorder. So there is true delusions of parasitosis. That really is a true diagnosis. But those of you out here in the room, you do not have that. You have Morgellons disease, which is a dermatologic condition associated with an infection. So how do we diagnose Morgellons disease? Well, I won't get into all the background. I think Dr. Savely got into that. But first of all, you have to be examined by a qualified healthcare professional. So
how many?
using a handheld microscope, anywhere
Nobody
from 40
will.
to 100 times X, you can actually visualize fibers
How do
and/or
you
these
not have a microscope and you're a doctor?
specks embedded within the dermis. And that is really what's distinguishable about this
Boom.
condition.
Yeah. Ooh.
So now what I'm going to do moving forward is talk a little bit about Lyme disease. So Borrelia burgdorferi is the causative agent of Lyme disease. It's known as a spirochete. The reason it's known as a spirochete is it does form this kind of spiral-like structure you can see in the lower left-hand corner. And it is transmitted by the bite of a tick. Ticks have been called sewers of infection. Anything they feed on, they can pick up and transmit to you. So there are oftentimes these co-infections that also go along with the tick bite as well. Karsten Nicholas, he just talked a lot about co-infections that include Babesia, Bartonella, Ehrlichia, Anaplasma, and Rickettsia. So there are a lot of different bacteria that you can also get from a tick bite. Just to give you an idea, there was a study done in China about 2 years ago that looked at their tick. Their tick had 237 types of microorganisms in it. Now, not all are pathogens, but it just goes to show you what you're exposed to when you're bitten by a tick. There are also some novel viruses. I think a recent study showed about 6 different viruses have been found in ticks recently that we really don't know about as well. So the CDC now estimates there's around 380,000 new cases of Lyme disease diagnosed here in the States every year. So that's almost 7 times as common as HIV and over twice as common as breast cancer. So this is a huge epidemic. Now, the number provided by the CDC, that's based off surveillance criteria only. So this probably grossly undermates the actual amount. And just remember, 6% of these patients will go on to develop the dermatologic condition associated with Lyme disease called Morgellons disease. So I like this picture because it kind of shows you, this is how small the Borrelia bacteria is. Those are red blood cells. This is a types of relapsing fever Borrelia, Borrelia hermsii. Again, the relapsing fever Borrelia like to be in the bloodstream, and hence they can cause these relapsing fevers, versus the Lyme disease group, it likes to be in tissues, so you don't usually get that relapsing fever. But I'm going to go and kind of discuss a little bit about the difference between these two groups.
Please do.
A lot of patients, they think that the stuff coming out of their skin is the actual spirochete itself. It is not the spirochete. You cannot see it with the naked eye, so this is very microscopic. So just to give you an idea of where the spirochetes fall, so the 3 domains of life, you have the bacteria, archaea, eukaryotes. We fall in the eukaryotic family, spirochetes are in the bacteria family. So I'm just going to start from a very kind of basic perspective of Borrelia. So the scientific classification of Borrelia, you can see again, domain bacteria, and as we kind of work our way down from phylum, class, order, family, we then encounter the genus. So that's the Borrelia bacteria. So that's a genus of bacteria. Now, as far as the species goes, so species, when we talk about species, we're talking about burgdorferi, hermsii, miyamotoi. So these are all different types of species of Borrelia bacteria, and there are at least 52 species of Borrelia bacteria. So when we think about testing moving forward, the testing does not always pick up all these different species.
There
and a
you
lot
go.
of these species cause